suspect allegedly telling police he wanted a bigger body count than the Boston Marathon bombing, as two Pennsylvania men face federal charges tied to an ISIS-inspired terror plot right here in New York City. They're being accused of lobbing two homemade IED explosive devices near Mayor Zohran Mamdani's home. Devices packed with nuts, bolts, screws, and a very dangerous chemical. It happened during a clash between dueling protests right outside Gracie Mansion. One of the suspects shouted Allahu Akbar, and according to court documents, one of them said they pledged allegiance to ISIS. Mayor Mamdani failing to mention ISIS earlier today, but he made sure to call out white supremacy. Watch.
This was a vile protest rooted in white supremacy entitled Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City. I'm the first Muslim mayor of our city. Anti-Muslim bigotry is nothing new to me. Many of the counter-protesters met this display of bigotry peacefully, with a vision of a city that is welcoming to all. But a few did not. Two men, Amir Balat and Ibrahim Qayyumi, traveled from Pennsylvania and attempted to bring violence to New York City. They are suspected of coming here to commit an act of terrorism.
Zohran later putting out a statement that finally acknowledged ISIS, and it looks like the media bent over backwards to downplay the role of radical Islam. NBC's headline reads, two in custody after suspicious devices lit outside Gracie Mansion amid anti-Islam protest. And the New York Times first line on their story reads, at least one counter-protester threw a homemade bomb on Saturday during a violent clash with far-right protesters outside Gracie Mansion in Manhattan. Harold, I have some difficulty with this because it's bad enough when the mayor minimizes things, when he first said that it was a display of bigotry that was met peacefully. That's what he said at first, and could barely bring himself to admit that it was terrorism. But then you have the New York Times, our own city publication, the mainstream media, carrying water for the mayor and minimizing it as well. Is that a good strategy?
I don't know. I think that I watched Paul Morrow, and I don't mean to look. It's hard for me to get in other people's heads, and your take on him, Kennedy, could very well be exactly the right one. But my takeaways were a little different. I saw Paul, I think, on with you, Dana, earlier today, and he said, look, these moments, we should be thankful. And I know you are, we all are. We have the best police force in combating terrorism in the country. They spare us and save lives every single day from efforts like this. I do hope, I was glad the mayor came back out to say what he said, and I was equally impressed, if not more so, with Commissioner Tisch earlier. Two, I thought the most important thing that Paul said earlier was we have to be willing to step back, and even those inspectors and those in NYPD, and figure out what we're doing well and what we're not doing well. And I say we because we as New Yorkers have to understand that as the nation is on higher alert, in light of what we're faced with overseas and in light of our posture overseas, we're going to have to be even better than the best that we've been. I am so delighted also that the mayor, I give him another piece of credit, he praised those police officers who saved his life and perhaps saved he and his wife's life. And I only hope that this will cause him to rethink any cuts he may want to make in New York City Police Department, because we may be facing more of this than less over the next few weeks or months.
Yes, absolutely. I'm surprised he didn't ask for more social workers to be there in order to act as his shield against these Islamists.
We saw this under Barack Obama, when he would downplay radical Islamic terrorism, and then he would almost blame Islamophobia for justifying it. You saw Benghazi, he blamed it on some dude on YouTube. And in a way, it kind of rhetorically justifies the terrorism. Oh, come on, you're responding to some haters. That's kind of when you read between the lines. And did that work? No. For 8 years, this country was riddled with a series of domestic terror attacks. Never went away, all over the world. And it wasn't until Donald Trump came on that attacked it directly, verbally, explicitly, and physically. He bombed the bejesus out of ISIS and then slapped a travel ban on. So we've now had 2 domestic terror attacks here since the war began. One attempted, one deadly. And the Democrats have defunded Homeland Security, which is completely irrational. And the right thing to do here is to praise the NYPD, because if those guys hadn't been there on the front lines, I mean, that would have been a disaster.
I agree.
God bless them.
I mean, they were attacking a Muslim mayor's house. And when they were asked by, the counter protesters were almost outnumbered by press there. And when he was being apprehended, one of the suspects, they said, "Why did you do this?" And he said, "ISIS." And the mayor has a hard time bringing himself to say that as if it's a mystery.
Well, it should be no surprise to anybody that the guy who called to globalize the Intifada thinks that the protest was the problem in the first place. And I'm glad that the FBI is taking the lead on this, because would you want Alvin Bragg to be the one prosecuting these guys? Plus, they pulled up for me. I just had this thought. Apparently, in their questioning, they said that they wanted to be like the Boston Bombers. Well, guess what the media did with the Boston Bombers? Here's the cover of the Rolling Stone magazine. Think about that one guy. Like, he wants to look like him. His hair's like his. They want the glory, not only apparently from Allah, but also from the media. And unfortunately, they're too often likely to get it. The original protest, I don't care about Jack Lang. He might be a lunatic, but you don't get blown up because you have controversial views. And there was only one side in this protest that got violent, and it wasn't Jack Lang.
And it wasn't just violence. It wasn't, and that's what the mayor was trying to say. Like, there were threats and there was some violence, and it was murder. It was intended murder, and that's what terrorism is. And these guys are going to be pretty severely charged.
Is it Islamophobic to wonder or suggest that Islam is not as welcoming to other religions as religions are to them? It's just, I just wonder, because I never hear this equation in reverse. I'm glad that the cops might have saved the mayor's wife's life. It's going to make it hard for her to like the ISIS post, though. That's going to be tough for her. Zoran is a naturalized immigrant, and many of these violent, hateful people are the same. I don't think this idealized nation of immigrants that we talk about means anything unless there's a common denominator. We've forfeited the expectation of assimilation. We no longer it's not like we don't even demand it. We don't even expect it. And we're too scared to reject their anti-American positions, all for the sake of appearing tolerant. This is what you get, suicidal empathy. We extend our hand, they want to chop it off. There is a vibe shift going on over the last 20 years. When you see the media covering for terrorists, that's different than, say, 2006, when the mayor leads with Islamophobia after a terrorist attack. That's interesting. Neglecting that this so-called Islamophobia actually is arising from Americaphobia. They don't like the West. And this is a public and brazen persona. We see it, and we're not allowed to do anything. But what drives me nuts, and forgive me if this is just my opinion. I don't want this to happen. But what drives me, yes, I do. Do I? I don't know. Anyway, what drives me nuts is we can decapitate Iran, kill their leader, and we can't rub out two parasites on the street who just tried to kill a bunch of people. I mean, I have the feeling that you could have just shot them dead there. You don't know if they have another bomb on them. But what's going on in the cops' minds? If I shoot this guy, I'll get in trouble. The only reason why these guys lived and nobody died is because their fallibility. Their bombs didn't go off. 20 years ago, they would have been shot dead. And that might actually save more lives by sending a message that we will shoot you on sight. Instead, however, everybody's going like, I can't do that because that'll be brazen. Me just saying that is brazen Islamophobia. Well, call me an Islamophobic if I want two terrorists. ISIS-inspired means ISIS, period. They should be dead.
You didn't mean that Islam was not welcoming of other faiths. It is. The text affirms that I'm Christian. This is why I want to make sure.
Monotheistic faith, but not polytheistic.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure you didn't. That's not what you were saying.
Says it. I don't think.
Yeah, I think
there's a lot of Christians.
I think there are many who fall short of the text.
Let me be very clear. I'm a Christian. The Christian text says a lot of things. A lot of Christians fall short. So I just want you. I don't want you. You shouldn't be. You didn't mean what, because you were saying Islam may not be welcoming.
I mean everything that I say, Harold. I mean everything. Look, if I've been around on this country since 2001, I've seen a lot of people bend over backwards to say that this is a religion of peace. And for the large part, I agree with it, but you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot of people. Of course, all practitioners of Islam are not terrorists.
but certainly an overwhelming amount of terrorists are Muslim. So we have to live with that. That's a reality. And if we run from that reality, we will never figure this out.
Hey, Greg,
Yeah.
it's mostly peaceful terrorism.
Yeah, that was a mostly peaceful bomb. It didn't go off.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.